Welcome back. 7 high school students from Cottage Grove, Woodbury, Lakeville, White Bear Lake, and Brainerd recently returned from what many might consider the trip of a lifetime. They traveled to Honduras last week along with a group of medical volunteers who performed more than 80 free orthopedic surgeries on people in need there. It's quite the effort. Joining us now is Dr. Kris Breien of Summit Orthopedics, along with Isabella Thomas, student at Lakeville North High School, both part now of One World Surgery, which is a nonprofit with connections to Summit Orthopedics. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Dr. Breien, let's start with you to remind people who don't know about One World Surgery. I mean, this is an amazing effort that started here in the Twin Cities and has been helping people in Honduras for years.
Yeah, it's been going on for almost 20 years. It's a medical mission of sorts, but it's actually a surgery center which stands on an orphanage, a 2,000-acre ranch / orphanage in Honduras in the center of the country, a very poor area. And it was founded by Dr. Peter Daly, one of our senior partners at Summit Orthopedics, and he saw a need for surgical access in some in countries that are poorer countries for that. And so he started just a one-room surgery center, and it's grown to 3 rooms now, 3 operative suites, and it has a massive clinic, and it has a very robust local contingent of physicians that work there year-round, but it's staffed oftentimes by medical brigades from the United States, many of which come from Minnesota, but many from all over the country as well.
Yeah, and it's really amazing how it's grown from that one surgery room to now Dr. Daly received an award from the Mayo Clinic for just how much it has grown and the number of lives that you all have impacted. How many years have you been going down, and how much time do you spend when you go down and do these surgeries?
Right, I've been going since 2017, so that's 5 or 6 trips once a year roughly. But Dr. Daly and multiple partners in our group have been going for almost 20 years, and he will go almost every other month. And so I bet you he's been to Honduras 50 times.
Yeah, and you think about the number of people whose lives have been impacted. Isabella, okay, I'm curious from your perspective, how did you get chosen to be among these 7 high school students that got to go on this trip recently? Yeah, so I saw a flyer in my athletic trainer's room for this trip, and I've always been interested in medicine. So I talked to her about it, and I applied. There was like a couple questions we filled out and everything, and then I was selected among other applicants. So. And what sort of things did you get to do and see while you were there? I mean, you got to get right in on some of these surgeries in addition to other things, right? Yeah, so I got to be in the operating room. I got to observe and scrub in. So it was so eye-opening just to see everything going on down there. And then I also got to do, there was a couple projects going on. So there was a sidewalk we did, which was one of my favorite things, I think. Just working with everyone, especially getting to speak with all the Honduras people down there. The language barrier is a little bit tough, but yeah, it was just so great. And then we got to paint as well. There was cooking, and yeah, so that was. And when you said the sidewalk, what do you mean you got to do the sidewalk? Were you actually like digging the trenches? Yeah, we were mixing like rocks with dirt and then cement, and we poured it in, spread it all out, everything. We even got to write our names in there. So that was really great. I'm sure it changed your perspective, opened your eyes in all sorts of different ways. Yes. It was, yeah, because also down there the water isn't super clean, so we had to pour like clean or bottled water on our toothbrush, which was also just so different for what I'm used to. So. And even the medical staff, I mean, you all are kind of living for the time that you're volunteering. You're kind of working and living all in the same space, right? You're not going far from the surgeries. No, you live together. We all live together. Yeah. And every day you get assigned a job. Like mine would generally be at the surgery center, but these guys, and Isabella understates it, it was 90 degrees and hot sun, and they were literally pouring concrete, and it wasn't like a truck pulled up. There was wheelbarrows, and they had to walk about 500 feet with rocks and shovels, and it was real work. And they did that in the morning oftentimes for about 4 or 5 hours, and they would come to the surgery center in the afternoon, and we taught them how to sterilely put on gowns and such, and they did actually get into surgeries with. So it offers a completely sterile environment and something far from sterile where you're really doing really great work. They also helped pave a road, and then they painted a kitchen which was functioning on the orphanage, and it was still, they were still cooking while they were painting, and so it was
it was not easy work.
Yeah, and well, both of you doing very, very important jobs and really putting in a lot of hard working volunteer hours. So that is wonderful. And I'm sure, I know there's a need for all sorts of volunteer opportunities with One World Surgery. So if people are curious about that, maybe for the future, maybe for, you know, a high school student going along, you can go to oneworldsurgery.org for more information. So Dr. Breien, thank you. Isabella, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate your time and perspective on all of this. Good luck till the next trip, right?
Thank you.